Hello, and welcome to part 4 of SpeltBothwards Inc. on Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now today we are in a German city that I am not going to bother to pronounce. I think it's like Cologne. I'm not too sure. Anyways, I would like to start today off with a little bit of exploration. So right now we're heading towards a destination, which is either a recruitment agency or it's a truck dealership. And right after we finish exploring that, we are definitely going to take a rest. Whoa, that is the wrong way. We have to go over here, not the other one. Anyways, I'll see you over there once we figure out what we will discover. And over here we have actually discovered a recruitment agency. So what it means is when we want to hire more drivers, we will have more options as far as what skills they have. I'm actually going to go straight and pull into the gas station and get a little bit of gas. And that is quite a bit of money to spend on gas. Regardless, now we're just going to pull over here and we'll look at what kind of jobs we can take. We have quite a few options, and the software will expire in 13 hours, which means we have time to sleep. So let's go head on and do that right now. Now we can just turn off the engine and press A. Oh, I forgot about this. So we now can actually choose. So I guess we'll go 9 hours? Well, how low can you go? So you can sleep for 1 hour. I mean, I think a good time to get up would be 7, but let's see what this says. This rest will meet the mandatory break requirements. The next one will be in 11 hours. For every 11 hours of driving, you must take a mandatory break for at least 9 hours to avoid getting fined. Okay, so we do have to do this. So let's go to sleep now. And it is now a lovely morning, where we can check what jobs we can take. And we still have the same option, so I guess we will just take this job. There is another change I would like to make so that I can lift and drop my extra axle. And I'm going to switch that to button 10, but that got rid of my engine stop, so I'm just going to change this to holding the button 10. And we should be good, because lighter loads, it will actually reduce our fuel economy. So now we can see we can actually lift it. And that should get us even better fuel economy. So now we can just start driving. Alright, this guy is gonna let me go apparently, but it is what it is. And now we'll just make the half-hour drive to our pickup spot for our trailer. And I got fined again. That's nice. What the heck was that, and why am I being fined? And 8% damage? What the heck? Dude just flew around the corner. Right away, buddy. You know, I wish they made that change to the game where it's like, they knew who it was at fault. Like, this dude literally just drove into me. Well, that's $8,000 of damage if I don't want to spend $137,000 to repair it all. Well, let's continue our drive, I guess. And we have now arrived at the facility, and we will be able to get our job soon and hopefully not get railed by any cars along the way. As we can see, we actually can change the trailer if we would like, but I don't think we'll be doing that. As we can see, the highest paying job that isn't a special job is going to be oil filter, so we'll take that. And with the click of a button, our trailer is attached. And I think we will leave the other wheels up for now because it is only 18 tons. Now we do have to be careful driving because it is a double trailer. Alright, now I am a bit in the middle of the road, not too much. No, it's actually a pretty big problem. The light shouldn't have changed. But I did need to take the wide turn because I also need to take this intersection as a wide turn. And here we go. Now we can do exactly that. And this light up ahead is definitely going to turn red, so I'm gonna go slow so that I can coast, but I know it's gonna turn red. Maybe not, though. Come on, just a little longer. Just a little longer. Okay, and we are through. Whee! And now we can go up here. And why is my signal still on? It's supposed to automatically turn off, yeah? Also, again, I still don't understand why it takes 2 lanes from that road just to merge it into one, and just to merge it into none. Doesn't make sense to me, but hey, I guess it works. And this fellow's just staring at us drivers. Go get a car of your own, man, and I am about to get heavily fined if I do not slow down. And although we've already driven through this area before, I do think it still looks very nice, especially in the light of day. We can pass this gas station without a problem because we already have gas as we have gotten it a little earlier. Now we can just turn this way, and of course be careful with our very long trailer. And now we are on the highway, so we can just cruise. And exiting the tunnel, I do want to talk about somewhat my strategy for what we're gonna do. And I think what I'm gonna do is first make about $100,000 so we can pay back our loan. After we pay back the $100,000 loan, we'll be able to take out a $400,000 loan, which will allow us to upgrade our garage and also buy a couple of trucks and hire a few drivers. But that is not a now discussion, as we still do not have a ton of money. Really, we're gonna have to complete quite a few more jobs before we get to that point. So for now, I think it's just best to enjoy the truck we have and the experience driving. And now we come up on one of our first exits. And we'll be careful going around this cloverleaf. We will coast, because we have a very long trailer. I am also going to tap the brakes, just to slow us down a little bit more. I feel this one particularly was very tight and steep. And right now, for some reason, the fog is very thick. And also, there is just this car waiting here. I feel like they had plenty of time to go before, but it is what it is. Sometimes the NPC cars in the game just do not work well. And we saw that firsthand before when that car came slamming into us, and we're the ones who got fined and had $8,000 in damage. And here we go, we have another exit, and this time we are going to the right, which means we won't have to slow down quite as much. And now, even through the fog, we are looking at a very nice and lush area. And we have to make sure there's no oncoming cars, and then we can make the turn. Then I'm also going to put the truck into neutral so we can gain as much speed as possible, which means even better fuel economy. And now that we're flat again, we'll put it back into automatic. And the GPS is telling me to go into the right lane, but I know that I'm going to have to come right back, so I'm going to stay right where I am. And right now we can see our fuel economy is almost back up to 9 miles per gallon, which is something I do like to see. And also there seems to be a bit of a hill up ahead, so I'm going to slow down so that now we can just coast down the hill and not worry about speeding. Of course, again, we'll put it into neutral to get as much speed as possible. Also, I'm not quite sure if this is a thing in Europe in real life, but I really don't understand why lanes end on the left. If exits and merging are on the right, shouldn't lanes ending be on the right too? I don't know, I just feel like it's a weird rule that doesn't really make sense. Also, the lanes then have to pitch in, and it's kinda just weird to me. And we have encountered our first slowpoke on this journey, which means he is going to ruin our fuel economy and our driving experience, which means I'm heading into the left lane. And I guess I'm heading back into the right because he is taking an exit. And right now we're actually well above 9 miles per gallon, sitting at 9.2. And I've really not been using cruise control this whole time either, so we really could do much better if I start doing that. And I think we'll head into the right lane, seeing as we won't have to head back into the left anytime soon. And now we are about halfway into our journey, sitting at 9.2 miles per gallon. And lucky for us, that number is only going to go up because we're going down a hill, and it actually already has, because we're now sitting at 9.3. And we have now hit 9.5 miles per gallon, which is pretty crazy. We got a speeding violation, but honestly, I don't care that much, because I really want to see how far up we can drive this number, and see if it's even possible to get a truck that is going to hit 10 miles per gallon. But that's going to be a little difficult if we have to hit the brakes, so I am going to switch lanes, and now that we're flat again, put it back in drive, set cruise control, and be glad to see we're at 9.7. And we have 9.8 miles per gallon now. Also, I believe we did just pay our loan, as I heard the sound effect before. And staying in the middle lane has paid off, as that's exactly where we need to be right now. And up ahead, we see that we have another hill coming up, which means we put it back into neutral. But that doesn't seem to be quite working well enough, as we have lost a bit of speed, so we will put it back into drive and turn on cruise control. But I think we'll briefly have 9.9 miles per gallon in the bag, and it has started to rain just a little later. And this rain is also going to cause problems for our fuel economy. And we do also have to hop on an exit soon, so we will turn on our directional and try to get into this lane, but this fella might be blocking us. I'm not playing the games. This has happened before. You're getting behind me. You're letting me over. And seeing as we're going downhill, we'll turn it back into neutral and see just how well we can do. And there we have it. We've hit 10 miles per gallon, which is pretty crazy. I've never seen this in Euro Truck Simulator or in American Truck Simulator. And we still have ability to coast. Also, our truck now has over 1,000 kilometers driven. And now we have lost our 10 miles per gallon to a hill. But maybe we'll be able to grab that right back. And the only way to do that is going to be through the power of the neutral gear. Also, I do believe our exit is coming up soon. So we will coast. Well, we can't really coast because we're going uphill, but we will slow down a bit. Once again, heading downhill, we'll put it into neutral. And we will have to hit the brakes as the speed limit is much lower and everyone is going much slower. And right now we're at 9.9 miles per gallon, which means that at best we're going to be able to only do 9.9 miles per gallon by the time we get to our destination. And not only is it raining, we are going up a pretty massive hill, which means goodbye fuel economy. And now going down the hill, we are going to completely coast, as that's the best we can do for our poor fuel economy, taking a beating. But we still, again, have to hit the brakes. Oh man, come on. That is unfortunate, and our vehicle is damaged more, and it is all this fella. All his fault. He shouldn't have slammed on the brakes like that. I'm telling you, I hit the brakes as soon as I could, and also the emergency braking system worked, but also not really, so that's really his fault. He brake checked me, you know. And nonetheless, I guess the two of us will head through this light like nothing happened. And also, that's just phenomenal. I accidentally hit the trailer on the light pole, which means it took damage too. But I do also have to head on over into this lane, so I'm do that around this conveniently placed turn. This time we're going to go a little slower just so that we don't crash into these cars. We'll swing the turn wide so we don't hit anybody. Oh my goodness, why is everyone just slamming on the brakes? It's dangerous, you know. And will this kind fella let me go? No, he's going to be selfish and make himself go. Of course, we're just kidding around. But we are almost at our destination of, I think, DHL. And of course, we have to swing this wide too, because this is a relatively narrow gate. And after a very hard part of the last leg of the journey, we just get a simple pull in here, because I do not know how to reverse these trailers. And I think if you want to do that, the option was grayed out. But I think if you want to do that, you have to do the driving academy challenge with it, and I am nowhere near that level yet. So now we will just detach this trailer and hopefully make lots of money and get lots of XP too. Fortunately, no money was reduced for hurting our trailer, and we actually got a new level. We're level 5, an enthusiast, which also gives us a skill point. As much as I want to go with eco driving just because that's funny and maybe we'll actually be able to get our 10 miles per gallon, kind of silly, as high value cargo will give us a much better yield. And actually right now we're able to take out $300,000 in loans, which to me spells out we have a perfect amount of money to upgrade our garage and get ourselves a driver. So we will do exactly that. We'll upgrade our garage and give it 2 extra slots. Ooh, and now we get another one of the legendary cutscenes. Now it seems like we have a random truck in the garage for some reason. Who knows why, and there's some ferocious lightning outside. Luckily, we have the safety of our lovely garage to keep us safe. The first order of business is figuring out which driver we would like to hire. And I think Nico Lodge is going to be our best option. He is long distance, which is especially rewarding for having drivers. High value cargo is very useful, and so is a just-in-time delivery point. So we'll hire this fella and assign him right here. And as for Scania, this is about what I would get. And we're looking at 173,000, which is quite a bit of money. And from Man, this is about what we're looking at. A very nice truck at a slightly lower price, which without all the gloss can be brought down even further, and even further still with regular mirrors. And mind you, this is the price now, also with better tires. And the third option I'm looking at is this Volvo, which has quite a bit of damage on it, which is going to be quite the bill when it first gets repaired, and also maintenance on it is 7% more. But this is the only truck within our price range, which means we will be buying it, and I'm actually going to drive it for the time being. And after adjusting the seats, we can start our drive. And now what we'll do is set our destination to the repair station. And surprisingly, there is no damage on our vehicle, but rather all just wear. And with some improvements, mainly being aerodynamics, new tires that would have to be replaced soon anyways, we've got ourselves a very boring looking truck in a pretty terrible color, which makes me want to spend the extra $15,000 to make the truck look like this. But of course you don't want the sun in your eyes either. And now I'm just going to confirm the order. And now I'm going to switch back to my original truck, and now I'll finally assign it to my driver. And hopefully he'll start making me money. What I'll do now is start heading to a new job, which I think we're going to haul this melt because it seems to pay very well. And my big reason for wanting to get my drivers nice trucks, even though they're just NPCs, is for a couple of reasons. Both because it's literally just a game, it doesn't actually matter, and also because kind of just feels right. Like, you don't want to give someone just a bare bones truck that is not nice at all and has nothing going on in it. And I believe at one point the devs were talking about reworking the system about quick jobs and all that, and I'm assuming they would do that by making it so you work for a company, which would then probably in turn assign you a truck. Basically, long story short, you would be working for a fleet, essentially what your drivers are doing for you. And I know if that was implemented that I would not want a terrible truck that doesn't even have a GPS in it. I know I'd want a truck that looked relatively solid and something that I would enjoy driving too. So again, even though it is literally just a game and it doesn't really matter, I figured it only makes sense to do it for your drivers too. Also, in the used truck I just bought before, its specific case of looking a terrible gray that is just terrible to look at, I think it just makes sense to repaint it. Also, I'm sure in real life it would make sense to give your drivers cameras for their mirrors too, because that would also improve fuel economy for aerodynamics. And the same can be said about the side skirt. Speaking of skirt, my truck is doing a lot of that when I accelerate. I do just want to see. And my third axle is actually down on the ground, which is pretty surprising to me because usually I don't slip and slide a lot in my trucks. or have my brakes be screeching. Nonetheless, my point is, I just think it makes sense to give drivers a nicer truck, because that's what you would want if you were driving too. For now though, I am just going to make my way to the destination. Nonetheless, it is time to finally accept our job. And what we'll do now is simply attack our trailer. Oh yeah, attach that up. Fifth wheel locked, raising legs and attaching cables. Boom. Like a boss. E-brake on. That's the end of this video. I really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. In the meantime, have yourself a great day.